Repeal Prop 4. Not at this pace. If you've watched any of my videos before, I've talked about Prop 4 a few times. The map, the new map that's going in for Utah's congressional, voting for who's going to be our new representatives. And this article came out today. Repeal Prop 4. Not at this pace. The bid to scrap Utah's anti-gerrymandering law is crawling, not sprinting. So my understanding is the Repeal 4 started off really well and has started to slip in the numbers that they're supposed to get before the end. There's a lot that needs to be broken down, what I want to talk about regarding this. To start, for anyone who is unaware of what Prop 4 is in Utah, I'm going to back it up here. So Proposition 4 in 2018 was a proposition by the people, or, like they say by the people. So it wasn't voted on, or it wasn't created by the legislature. It was the people gathering together and being like, we want to have fair maps. So the point of the map was to remove gerrymandering in Utah by law, by the people. The idea was, let's create some rules that help us govern how maps can be picked. Specifically, they wanted, I think it was 7. Let's see. Yeah, there's 7 bullet points here. They wanted 7 individuals picked by these following individuals: governor, president of the Utah Senate, House of Representatives, the minority party, the majority party, blah, 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 all that. So 7 people would get together. They would create a map or multiple maps. They would then present those maps to the legislature. They'd be able to pick a 5 and say, this is the one that we want. A few years later, they created the redistricting amendments sponsored by Senator Curtis, basically saying Prop 4 isn't a requirement, but we're going to use it as advisory. So they can submit this to us, and if we like it, we'll pick one of those 5s, but we can pick whatever we want. They ended up getting sued, and the Supreme Court basically ruled, it moved on me, I had it pulled to the conclusion. They basically ruled that the 0.34% majority that voted, which I left that out, but Prop 4 passes in Utah in 2018 with a 0.34%, not 3.4%, 0.34%. So not even a full percentage point, which is in Utah amounts to a few thousand votes that people voted yes. So it's not a large margin. I'm not pointing that out to say that it's invalid or anything. It did pass. Those are the rules. But it was very slim that they won. I think the majority of Utahns saw that and said, hey, who wants fair maps? So I want fair maps. I'm going to vote for that, because most people tend to vote on the lowest common denominator of an information that is disseminated to the public. So you can have all this context, which is what I'm going to be providing in this video. And most people aren't going to understand the context or pay attention to the context or even care about the context. And they're going to say, just give me the main gist. And the main gist is that it's supposed to be fair. Well, the courts ruled the 0.34% overdoes the Senate's majority voting for changes and basically getting rid of that rule, saying that the people spoke and you don't count as the people because the people are also in charge of you. And so it's like, regardless of whether or not people voted for them to change the law, like I'd never heard that come up. Not saying that it necessarily did happen, although I know it did, because I didn't vote for it, but I know someone who did vote for it and changed their mind later. So they came up with 5 maps. The judge ruled your maps are invalid. You have to follow this Proposition 4 mandate. So they created these 5 maps. There we are. Great. A special session was held. They gathered together and they pick option C. They go, we're going to go with this map. Yeah, there it is. I'll skip that. So during this process, they create a new redistricting standard. So now they're saying, okay, we're going to keep Prop 4 as is, but we want to modify it as to the rules. What are the rules that help govern that? I have a video on that. You can go back and watch it. Basically, they just recreated it and said, you have to meet these statistical anomalies for it to make sense. So we'll skip over that. So then this is where the part where I get the most upset. The judge, Diana Gibson, select a map outside of the 5 that were created, and that was submitted by the group suing. So let me make this clear. I'm going to now just summarize what matters is Prop 4 comes and says, we want fair maps. The legislature says, we're going to change that and do whatever we want. They sue. Judge says, yeah, follow the process. So they go, okay, we'll follow the process. They created 5 maps as they were supposed to. And the judge decides, I'm going to go with map 1. Now, if you remember, it was called map A, B, C, D, and E. These are the 5 that were created at the request of the judge. She then picked one not of the 5. An outside source, someone not even part of Utah, helped put this map together. They picked this map, map 1. Again, this judge ordered the legislature to create 5 maps and to pick one of those. She says, I don't like any of the 5 that you guys created based on the rules that I told you to follow, so I'm going to pick this one. Does that make any sense? I don't think that makes sense. I think that's absolutely just ridiculous that a judge feels that she can just rule and rule by the bench. The legislature has done absolutely nothing to impeach this lady. They've done some repealing, and the repeal is in process. We'll see where it goes. It better be held up that this is unconstitutional, because the Constitution says, the Utah Constitution says, that the legislature gets to pick the map. That is in the Constitution. They are the deciders of the map. They followed the rules that were in place. They created the 5 maps and they picked one of them, map C. And the judge says, no, I'm going to pick a completely different map, not following any of the processes that I ordered to be followed. Okay, that's the part that frustrates me and makes me mad. So now they've decided to repeal Prop 4. And that's where we're at today, is repealing of Prop 4. The bid to scrap Utah's anti-gerrymandering law is crawling, not sprinting. So basically the idea is we're losing. We're going to do anything we can by any means necessary to go back to the way it used to be, where we as legislatures are in charge. Now, I'm going to read from Phil Lyman here. I think he had a great take. I actually share his take. I found this while I was researching. I was like, whoa, this lines up exactly with how I feel. So I'm going to read it because I think he's a little more eloquent than I am. As we navigate the fallout from Utah's redistricting debacle, I want to speak directly to you. Like many of you, I'm deeply unhappy, frustrated even, with how this mess played out. Naive promises of fair maps and bipartisan reform through initiatives like Better Boundaries and Prop 4 have inevitably resulted in a court-imposed map. This is specifically the part that I am frustrated with. To be fair, maybe he's more frustrated with some other situations around this. I'm not going to speak for him, but the court imposed map, the court can't just decide that they're going to pick a map that had nothing to do with the process that they themselves ordered based on the law that they decided to uphold. The truth is, some Republican leaders co-chaired Prop 4, but now decry what their actions produced. Meanwhile, the Utah's GOP decision to import out-of-state signature gatherers at great expense, millions in donor funds for flights, hotels, and paid harvesters, skips over our abundant local volunteers. This part frustrates me probably the most, and I'll get into it a little bit more. Let's finish reading his point. It raises serious questions about our state party. This isn't the volunteer-driven unifying process the Utahns deserve. Instead, it depends on outsiders, an out-of-state pact, and on spending a lot of other people's money. That said, despite my deep dissatisfaction with the origins of this chaos, I am signing the petition to repeal Prop 4 and put it before voters in 2026. Why? Because the people of Utah, not judges or lobbyists, should have the final say. Getting it on the ballot is the best way to make sure your voice is heard loud and clear. For those considering whether to sign, do your research. So here's hopefully part of your research. I am obviously biased. I do stand, I mean, everyone's biased. Anyone who says they're not is lying. Like even just down to the stories that people pick to share is a bias. So they can limit the amount of bias, but there's always bias in any type of news. Now, here's my point. I also want to sign, but I am deeply, deeply concerned that they skipped over the volunteers and went straight to out-of-state PACs. There's 2 reasons that I'm fearful of this. First and foremost, I do feel that signature gathering through paid companies is either pay to win, which is deeply discouraging to me, and opens the door to fraud. There's a lot of fraud concerns relating to many of the current individuals in our government. Governor Cox, our AG, a few other individuals. I'm trying to do more, and hopefully I'll do a video on where I kind of stand with that. Whether or not there is fraud, it opens the door for fraud, especially coming from outside the state, which was one of my complaints with the map that the judge picked. The judge picked a map that was created by the out of state. So right now, because of what's going on with Donald Trump and the national news and all of this, there is this huge push right now where everyone is doing gerrymandering as much as they possibly can with the laws that they have in place to win. And to be honest, I think Utah's doing the same thing. But the thing that scares me the most is that Utah has allowed out-of-state actors to help push this so that we can win on the larger stage of the national level. And my opinion is you never win when you cohort with the devil, when you cohort with evil. And I'm sorry, but when I look at the federal government and everything that's going on, we have the legislature of the U.S. government has granted far too much executive power to the president because they want to just stay in power. And now we're reaping what we have sowed so many decades ago by granting so many powers to the federal government. And we're doing it now. We are making a deal with the devil so that quote unquote, we can win in the midterms. Everyone's trying to squish everything they out. And now Utah's a part of that. Now, to everyone who is a Democrat, if you get to listen to this video, or if you're an independent and you're like, well, the Democrats do deserve a seat in Utah. Fine, very well. I don't care. I really don't. When it comes to the maps that were created, I would like them to be fair. I would like them to be just. I understand the desire for individuals who don't feel that they're represented. They don't feel represented because they don't have a representator in Utah. I get that feeling. I understand it. I want you to do everything you can to win within legal bounds and within morality. But those of you that are saying that it was right for a judge to pick a map outside of the orders that she gave for the map to be created, I'm sorry, but there's no way for me to look at that and think that that's reasonable. So you can win. I don't care if they have a seat. I genuinely don't. I think that there is far more involved on the national level and even on our state level. There is so much corruption. And for me, looking at this, I think that there is some deeply rooted corruption within the Utah Republican Party. I think that they are that they're actual politicians, that they're actually, some of them are in power. I don't think every single person in power is necessarily corrupt, but there is a corruption. It has snuck into Utah, and Utahns, we need to wake up. This should have been grassroots efforts. This should have been local volunteers. We are, as Phil Lyman says, there is an abundant amount of volunteers that are willing to do this work in Utah. And right now what's happening is people will say, do you want Utah to be more Republican? Come sign this paper. I've heard them say it. It's like, that's not what it is. We're trying to repeal Prop 4. So some people, I'm worried. To be fair, I think Utahns are smart. I think they're asking how. The one time that I heard someone just say that, the person did ask how, and they asked for information, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they ended up signing. But I'm just saying there's so much that's going on, and the truth is what shall set us free. And there is corruption in Utah. We need to root it out. And this just scares me. Now, on lighter notes for Republicans, MAGA Get Out the Vote heavyweight arrives in Utah to boost GOP signature gathering. So Republicans, one of Republicans' favorite gays, right here, Scott Pressler's come to Utah to help get signatures. He's gone to four different counties, and he's trying to help organize, get us out to vote. And again, I love you, Scott, but like, this is a Utah issue, and I understand everyone wants to get involved. I don't mind that you went to Pennsylvania, but like, people need to be involved in the states in which they are. And I don't like this interstate moving around for state matters that are more specific to the state. And this congressional map is a state issue that we have to work out. And I don't like outside influence. I don't care where it's coming from, left, right, or center. So good news for some, not necessarily for me. people can tell me why I'm wrong, I'd love to hear it. The Utah Republican Party's bid to reverse the 28 ballot initiative known as Proposition 4 has attracted national attention from top members of the MAGA movement. In October, Donald Trump Jr. called on activists to join the GOP's paid signature gatherer, Patriot Grassroots, to put the redistricting law back on the ballot in November 2026. In December, Turning Point Action's COO Tyler Boyer said Charlie Kirk's organization would participate directly in Utah politics for the first time by mobilizing voters on the issue. And on Thursday, Scott Pressler, the get out and vote guru behind Pennsylvania's 2024 GOP voter registration push, landed in Salt Lake City to help with the fight too. Now, I understand that these organizations are national organizations. They're built to help push national agenda. So I am going to say I'm not 100% completely against individuals getting involved. I'm not even that concerned about the out-of-state individuals talking to, like, giving help to Utahns in the lawsuit to say, like, we need better maps and pursuing and everything. My problem is they picked a map directly from that person. Okay. And again, I have the same problem with the Utah GOP hiring out-of-state signature gatherers to come to our state to get signatures. Okay. I don't appreciate that. I can appreciate the let's talk about it. I'll come give my face. You guys can show up. Democrats can do the same thing. Bernie Sanders and AOC showed up to Utah. They had something to say. That's fine. You're running for politics. That is something that you are allowed to do. I'm okay with that for the most part. But there's just that part of me that just kind of feels icky when people come to my state and they try to tell me how to live and tell me how to be a certain type of MAGA or a certain type of Republican or a certain type of Democrat or a certain type of leftist. I just don't like it. We need to sort out our own problems. And that's what's upsetting me the most. So I'm going to leave it there with that point. I did want to read, a little bit of here, because there's some numbers in here that are involved. So Prop 4 passed in 2018. I already went over this. So we have until February 14th to submit signatures, and final totals may not be available until March 7th. Clerks get 21 days to verify. That timeline averages to an average of 2,801 verified signatures per working day, excluding weekends and holidays, if they want to meet the statewide minimum. So here's the current progress. We are currently at 34.34% statewide progress, I think as of today, maybe yesterday actually. Current as of 120. Oh, this is current today. Great. Verified signatures, 48,000. Verified signatures needed, 92. Now, to be fair, I think we're probably closer to halfway there, because I'm sure they've submitted signatures and they just haven't been verified. They get 21 days. So there's a 21-day delay. So we could have submitted numbers in for December. They haven't been counted yet, right? And now we're still gathering for January. So this is verified. Days left to submit signatures. We have 25 days left. Daily goal, that means we have to hit 2,800. Working days remaining, 33. So you can see here that Center Utah, man, 88% of the total is coming from here. That's pretty crazy. Then we've got some pretty heavy hitters down here, south, and then you have the north part of Utah, which tends to lean more blue. So I think this is kind of expected. Let's see. Okay. The good news, they've topped 2,801 on 6 separate days and hit 2,500 or more on 10 days. Their best 5-day average was between December 15th to the 19th, with 2,858 verified signatures per day. The bad news, they've struggled to maintain that pace. The trending is slipping. The most recent 5-day average is 2,063, 26 below target, or 738 short per day. At that pace, they'll miss the statewide requirement by more than 24,000 signatures. Even their best 10-day average, 2,124 per day, is roughly 24% below the 2,801. So let's skip ahead. Even at the needed 2,801 per day, projections suggest they'd hit the mark in only 13 districts, half of what they required. So we've got 10 districts sit at 38 to 89% requirement. I'm not going to read this. You can find the article yourself. I'll leave it in the comment section. There was a poll done. I meant to have this one pulled up, so let's go here. So let's go here. All right. There's currently an effort to gather signatures for a ballot proposition that would eliminate Utah's Independent Redistricting Commission, which was established in 2018 when voters passed Proposition 4. Do you support or oppose eliminating that commission? 7% support eliminating the commission. Strongly support. 19 somewhat support eliminating the commission. So this is 26 a quarter of the individuals. 13% somewhat oppose eliminating the commission. 16% strongly opposed. And 44% don't know. So to the rest of you Utahns that don't know, let me make the argument. There is some corruption that is going on in Utah on all levels, on the level of the creation of Prop 4, on the repeal of Prop 4, on the judge issuing a map that had nothing to do with the laws that she ordered to be followed. And here we are. So to the 44%, we do need this to repeal. I do stand with Phil Lyman in this case, saying that like I hate how they're going about doing this, but we do need to repeal Prop 4. I hope that you guys will find a place to sign this. You can call the Utah GOP or send an email and ask them where you can sign. Like they're around, but they're somewhat hard to find sometimes if you don't know what to look for. So if you do want to sign it, you'll have to put in some effort unless you're one of the lucky ones that someone found you to sign it. I wanted to read this part, though, because I think this was important. Among Republicans, 33% support the repeal. So 1 in 3 Republicans are like, we need to do this. 22 oppose it. I understand why some of you oppose it. And I think it's because you don't, I think in some of the situations, because you don't know what's going on. And I hope that me giving that history, watch my other videos if you want more detailed analysis of what's going on related to Prop 4. But here's the deal. I don't think a vast majority of these individuals actually know that this judge has been cheating the system. The reason they're trying to get rid of it is because there have been some failures. Now, I wouldn't mind them keeping it in a way that is like it needs to be rewritten, and it needs to be rewritten in a better way than what was given to us, because it obviously failed horrendously and was never supposed to be what it is. I would love fair maps, but I do think we need to repeal this because of how it turned out. 45% don't know. Support falls to 22% among Democrats. So support, 22%. That's interesting to me. I would love to talk to one of you Democrats that feel that you support repealing Prop 4 and why. Like, to me, this, like, they've made it seem like Prop 4 is very like left versus right. So I'd love to understand why you guys feel that it should be repealed. My personal opinion, not in related to you guys, for me only, is because of how it has gone, and it has pointed out all this corruption. Let's repeal it and let's vote out all of our legislature and start new, because I think we just need new ones in the Republican Party. We just need to get rid of everybody. With 40% opposing and 37% feeling uncertain, just 20% of independent supporters repealing the proposition, while 34% oppose it and 46% don't know. The poll was conducted by Morning Consult between January 7th to the 12th, so just 2 weeks ago. 799 individuals. So that's kind of where I stand. Let me know if I got anything wrong in the comment section below. You can follow me on X or Rumble or YouTube at Reese J. Crockett. The channel is Reese Crockett. Share the video if you feel that people need to understand Prop 4. Share my other video. Share this video. If you think I didn't do a good enough job and you'd like me to do a better job breaking it down so that you can share that video, let me know in the comments. Yeah, we'll go from there. So until next time.